The future of the Oirat-Kalmyk people lies in freedom, dignity, and sovereignty. For over 2.5 centuries, our nation has been subjected to the rule of external powers first, the Russian Empire, then the Soviet Union, and now the authoritarian regime of Putin's Russia. During this long and painful history, we have endured some of the gravest injustices a people can suffer. We survived mass deportation, experienced 2 genocides, suffered ethnocide, witnessed the forced liquidation of our national republic, and watched as our language, culture, and identity were systematically destroyed. The Soviet regime, responsible for these crimes, never acknowledged its guilt. There were no official apologies, no reparations, and no return of our ancestral territories. We continue to be treated as second-class citizens. Our historical lands remain annexed, particularly by Astrakhan Oblast, and the Russian Federation maintains a colonial policy masked behind the illusion of federalism. Today, in the so-called Republic of Kalmykia, real self-governance is absent. All political and economic decisions are made under strict control from Moscow. The region is mired in stagnation, with high unemployment, poor infrastructure, and growing poverty. Our youth see no prospects for the future. They are either forced to leave in search of a better life abroad, or face conscription into a criminal war Russia launched against Ukraine against the will of many of its own citizens. Thousands of Oirat-Kalmyks have already fled the country. They did not leave for comfort or wealth, but to preserve their freedom, their dignity, and sometimes their very lives. Inside Kalmykia, open protest is suppressed, but resistance continues in hidden forms: distribution of leaflets, refusal to appear at draft offices, and quiet acts of civil disobedience. The Kalmyk people do not support this war. We do not recognize it as ours. Today, the Congress of the Oirat-Kalmyk people continues its work in exile. This organization is recognized abroad as the legitimate voice of our people. We have submitted formal documents affirming our right to national self-determination to the Verkhovna Rada of Ukraine, and we are preparing similar documents for submission to the Baltic states and the European Parliament. We declare this openly. The process of national liberation has already begun. We fully understand that we are not alone. Just like the Buryats, Sakha-Yakuts, Chechens, Tatars, Ingash, Circassians, and many others, we are a colonized nation. Our peoples are not ethnic minorities. We are nations with a history, with rights, and with a future of our own. The time has come to dismantle Russian colonialism and to restore justice. Our goal is clear and firm: the creation of an independent, democratic, and sovereign national state of the Oirat-Kalmyk people. We seek not revenge, but restoration. We seek not conflict, but freedom. To achieve this, we are building the foundations for future armed defense structures, formed abroad, primarily in Ukraine, today's global symbol of resistance and national survival. Ukrainian experience shows that even in the face of overwhelming odds, the will of a free people cannot be broken. Unfortunately, the West continues to harbor illusions about the existence of a democratic Russia. This is a dangerous fantasy. Russian centralized statehood has always led to dictatorship, repression, and imperial aggression. There can be no democratic Russia without the full decolonization of its current imperial structure. The so-called liberal opposition figures like Khodorkovsky, Navalnaya, Milov, and others are not allies in our struggle. Their rhetoric, though modern and appealing to Western ears, merely seeks to preserve the Russian Empire under a new flag. They offer reforms, not liberation. That is why we believe the time has come to create a coordination center for the colonized nations within and beyond the Russian Federation. Such a center must take on the vital roles of political coordination, diplomatic engagement, military preparation, leadership training, and the formation of provisional institutions of self-governance. It must also serve as a moral and ideological nucleus for our shared liberation movements. We call upon Ukraine and Western democracies to provide support, political, financial, and military. Our struggle is not separate from Ukraine's. On the contrary, our fates are intertwined. Russia's defeat in Ukraine will mark the beginning of the collapse of its imperial structure, and with that collapse, the road to freedom will open for dozens of oppressed nations. Already today, volunteers from colonized peoples are fighting on the side of Ukraine. They are motivated not by orders but by conscience. We must organize these fighters into national battalions and brigades that will one day return to their native lands, not as invaders but as liberators. But we also know that freedom is only the first step. After liberation, we will face the immense task of building a new society, reforming political systems, creating a modern and ethical military, rebuilding our economy, and re-establishing law and justice in our institutions. We will seek and secure international recognition. We will reclaim our stolen territories. We will revive the Kalmyk Oirat language, restore our cultural heritage, and ensure that the memory of the victims of past crimes is honored and justice is served. Our path is not one of hatred, it is one of responsibility. We owe it to our ancestors who suffered and resisted. We owe it to our children who deserve a life of dignity, identity, and opportunity. And we owe it to all those nations who, like us, are still shackled by the chains of empire. We will not follow the path of the so-called Russian world. We reject imperial lies, colonial rule, and cultural erasure. We choose life. We choose freedom. We choose the future.